Let me also say that I'm extremely grateful to the many business champions who devote their time and expertise to collective platforms, such as our Caring for Climate platforms and other partnerships which are taking shape. I think we have to work very hard to scale them up now, because we are not yet at tipping point, and we all know that. And that also means reaching out to more companies and winning over many more of them.
Thank you very much, Ingeborg. Before I turn to Minister Quesada, I'd like to turn to Jim Lee. Jim, you said something very, very interesting, I think, in your opening statement. You spoke about the need for business leaders to stake out a political role for themselves, something they're not necessarily always very comfortable with. I wanted to ask you, what evidence do you see of that? What do business leaders need to do in the political space? And do you think that the statement which has been produced over the last couple of days, this event indeed, provides a platform for that as a part of a wider ongoing process of dialogue?
Okay. Thank you for that. Let me first say, I suspect that many of us in this room have been to several business environment summits before. At least this is, I won't count how many I've been to, but there have been quite a few over the last several years. And I've thought overnight about, so why is this one different? It seems to me this one stands apart, at least from the others I've attended, in some important ways. And I think it comes partly from the fact that we're in a post-Copenhagen environment. And we've learned that if this problem is going to be solved, we're going to have to push hard to do it. We're going to have to push hard to act in our own domains, in business and in civil society, and we're going to have to push government hard to step up to do what we need them to do. And I think that's created a different atmosphere. You combine that with the focus in this meeting on solutions, and I think you have something quite rich here. I think it's been a very productive 2 days. And for me, one of the most important things coming out of this is, what do we do with what we've done here? What do we take home, and how do we act, each of us, on what we've said here? And in particular in the political arena. For me, the overarching message of this meeting is that we can do a lot in business to meet the challenge of climate change, and we could do even more if government would get the signals right, if governments would put in place the policies we need to head markets in the right direction. And what I urge you to do as business leaders is to think about that political challenge the way you would think about a political challenge of a more familiar kind, a change in regulatory policy or tax policy or something else that affects your business. And really engage political decision makers on what you think they need to be doing, not just by signing a statement like this, but by talking to the politicians you know, by urging upon them the importance of what they do in Cancun. I think the statement that we've developed here is really good as a start in that effort. We start with the first line, which says that this is the most urgent challenge we face as a global society. That's a crucial message in this moment, in a year in which we've seen many people trying to sow confusion about whether climate change is real and about whether it needs to be acted upon. And business leaders speaking on that issue by itself is quite important. But the second message in the statement is that this is about opportunity as well as challenge, that this is the opportunity to stimulate an economic recovery, to build a new economy, to create jobs. There is, in the working group recommendations, there are a lot of specific needs for policy reform. There's a lot that has to be done over the coming years to get the right global policies and national policies in place. But somebody said, actually several times yesterday it was said, this is a marathon. And I think that's the right metaphor. It will take time to get all of those things in place. The important thing to recognize is that we're in a marathon, and at the moment the political leaders are running in circles. And we're not going to get there unless we figure out how to point them in the right direction. And that is the task between now and Cancun. Right? We're not going to work out in Cancun what the price should be for carbon. We're not going to work out all sorts of things that have to be worked out. But what we can do in Cancun is set clear direction, is to reaffirm the commitment of governments to deal with this problem and to come together in a global solution. And they need to hear that from you, right? They need to hear from you that confusion is killing us, that confusion is chilling investment and making every business hesitate about what the future direction should be. They need to hear from you that they need to show clearly that they are recommitting themselves to dealing with this problem, and that they're demonstrating that commitment by coming to terms on some at least key building blocks of the solution, the issues on which they're ready to agree: adaptation, finance, technology, deforestation. But that message, not just we need a price on carbon, we need a level playing field, we need various policies in place, that message that we need as a business community, as a civil society, we need to see that kind of commitment from them, that sense of a renewed determination to crack this problem and to work together to do it, is the most important message. And I think this statement that we're developing or releasing today is very good in sending that message. And what it misses is each of us as advocates taking it back to our politicians and saying, hey, we were part of this, we're serious about this, and we're watching you in Cancun, and we expect you to step up. And I think we do that that's part of our profession in civil society, but we need business to do it, because you have a different kind of credibility, a different kind of influence, and politicians will sit up and take notice. Thanks.
Well, I hope all the business people in the audience have got that message loud and clear from Jim. I'd like to turn now to Minister Quesada. I'd like to, first of all, start by thanking him for hosting this wonderful event in Mexico. A reflection which has been shared over the last couple of days about the momentum in the process is that leading up to Copenhagen, there was this huge build-up, a lot of arguments that we could actually get it done in Copenhagen, a lot of hope around it. Didn't work out. And then the energy seemed to be taken out of the process. Events like this, and the hard work of your government, of course, is helping to build that momentum back up for Cancun. Now, the question I have for you is, from what you've heard over the last couple of days, and it's a lot of stuff, what are you going to take from this to Cancun? How are you going to get that message to Cancun?